you're struggling with Liza P DLC's difficulty, then fret not, because there's a patch incoming. Well, not necessarily incoming. The game's director recently released a video letter where he was stating that one of the aspects that they are reviewing the most out of the community's feedback, it was going to be the combat system and the difficulty of it, because some people believe that it's way too high. Now, I do have a little bit of an input with that. If you want to take out of this video, this is just going to be me giving you my honest opinion on what do I think about this, because at the end of the day, that's the gist of everything. They are going to be nerfing the game, and this is something that they are going to be testing throughout the next couple of days, weeks, or so, what have you. He did say on the video that adjusting this kind of things takes a little bit of time, because you have to consider that the combat system is one of the most important aspects in Liza P, and they have to do thorough testing before they actually make any changes to the game's difficulty. However, that being said, I mean, come on, dude, there's already like the easy difficulty on the game. That's one of the things that we need to have in mind. That's one of the things that we have to consider right here. You will see that initially when they were asked if they thought that Liza P should have like a difficulty mode, they said that it didn't. Like, this was the experience, this is how they envisioned the experience to be, and that's fine, dude. I mean, I personally, I do believe that it's fine that they start adding easy modes to these types of games, specifically because I love the combat system. Like, the combat system in Soulslikes, if you actually do manage to tailor it to how should it feel, the iframes, the animations, the wind-up of the animations, how long should the animations take, and everything that revolves around this combat system, I can positively say that, in my personal opinion, this is the best type of combat system that you have out there in the entire gaming world. That is why we have seen so many Soulslikes trying to copy what From Software appealed as a base, because it's just a dance between you and the enemy, and you have to be precise about your inputs. There's many fun games out there, I do not want to diminish them. I love every single game out there that we play. We play lots of RPGs in here, and I, for example, love Ninja Gaiden or Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry has one of my favorite combat systems, but those are like completely different things, like those are completely different beasts. The thing with the combat system in Soulslikes is that you have to be precise, you have to be, everything is just chirurgical. Aside from Dark Souls 2 and the adaptability system, if something happens in these types of games, it's probably your fault. Like, if you mess up with something and you're not being precise and you're rambling that the hitboxes are trash, well, let me tell you, dude, that you're probably the issue. And that's what I like about this games, because every time that an enemy humbles me, a boss humbles me, it's my fault. I know that I did something wrong. I cannot blame the game, I cannot blame parameters, I cannot say that he's dealing too much damage, or he's dealing this, or he's dealing that, or maybe the combo is too fast, or it's too long, because I know that if I get accustomed to, and I know how to read the boss, I know that independently of everything, this is especially true on the final boss on Liza P. The final boss of Liza P DLC, it's very, very difficult, because his combos are just unforgivable. They trash you in the ground if you're not prepared to block and dodge properly. I would even make a comparison in here to Elden Ring's Millennia, and that's something that it's like a legendary boss fight that everyone knows by now. Even if you haven't played Elden Ring, you probably know who Millennia is. And a lot of people were calling bullshit the combo and animation that Millennia had, but at the end of the day, with time, we did manage to overcome it. We did manage to read it. There's people out there that are just dodging Millennia's combo just by movement instead of using the iframes in the animations for dodges. What I'm trying to get at in here is that I am at least very happy that if people are not as precise with their reflexes and as comfortable with the controller on their hand, and they cannot experience how beautiful these combat systems are and how precise they feel, at the very least I'm happy that they can get to enjoy it with an easy mode. where you receive less damage, and where you deal more damage, and where the parameters are working in your favor. But at the end of the day, at the very least, you can still get a taste of what is it that we enjoy, we sadists enjoy about these types of games. And with that being said, I do not agree with the philosophy of adding a easy mode to the game, a normal mode to the game, a difficult mode to the game, and at the end of the day, even then, just nerfing the game. Because honestly, dude, without being like mean or without trying to use the get good statement or anything like that, really, if you feel that you're struggling with the highest difficulty of the game, then just don't play the highest difficulty of the game. There's 2 more modes out there that you can play if you do not want to play the highest difficulty of the game because you feel that the game is being too difficult for you. Because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be difficult, like it's the highest difficulty of the game. Now that we have the parameters in here, it just baffles me. Why are we having this conversation? Why do we have to nerf the game even more if you already have those difficulty modes right in the that you can jump back into if you feel that the game is being too unforgiving to you, if you feel that you're stuck against something and you do not really want to be stuck in there and you want to progress, then you can change the difficulty at any given time whenever you want to. But yeah, if they lower the difficulty, which I believe to be perfect, I have already finished the Overture DLC several times now. I have planned videos for every type of new weapon that we have in the DLC, so be on the lookout for those very, very good and effective weapons and builds that we are going to have right in here for the new weapons for the DLC. But at the very least, this is something that I do not like to do, because I think that there's some degree of elitism to this kind of statement, which I do not agree that much on. At the very least, I can say that I finished the DLC before they nerfed it. Here, I actually do advise for you, if you're watching this video, you're having this conversation with me, my advice is that you go out there, purchase the DLC, play the DLC, and if you're one hardcore Soulsborne fan, then just play the game as is right now, because as soon as that patch drops, which then again we do not know when is this patch going to drop, it's going to lower the difficulty of the game and you're not going to actually experience what the bosses are right now. I do have to say that the Stalker boss fights in here, they are the most difficult ones that you have than the base games. The Stalkers and the base games, the base game, the vanilla game, they are just little cats compared to the Stalker boss fights that you are going to encounter in here. And I love that because I didn't feel on the base game that I needed to learn the patterns of the Stalkers, because they were just, yeah, they were difficult, but they were like the game's difficult. There were like nothing special that I needed to learn. I could just brute force my way and use my build against them. In here, you can't. Like, if you're going to be fighting the Stalkers, the 2 Stalkers that the game has for you right in here, this is the first time that I think that I thought that I needed to learn the patterns of the Stalkers, because otherwise I just wouldn't be able to beat them. And it felt good, because they felt like proper boss fights on themselves, even though that they were not necessarily boss fights. There's just 3 official boss fights on the DLC, which is kind of like a bummer. And the final boss fight, OMG dude, I would place it on a very, very same, if not same, very, 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 very close to Melania and Ishin. Provided that you're not using the summon, because that's something, you have a crutch in there in the final boss fight. You have a summon that you can use if you want to use it. I finished it with the use of the summon that you have in there and without it. And I can positively say that this is one of the most difficult boss fights that I have, at the very least me by myself solo. One of the most difficult boss fights that I've ever faced. I would definitely place it on the same place of Melania and Ishin. So with that being said, I just wanted to put to put the word out there, to give you the info out there, give you my opinion. And if you actually want to play the game on the state that it is right now, I know that I didn't make a review of the game because this time around they actually did not send me the copy. I was as surprised as you when they shadow dropped it. I was not aware that they were going to shadow drop it. I was under the impression that they were going to give us the code because they gave me the code for the base game, so I was not prepared for anything like this. But if I had to write my review and make a review, I would say that there's plenty of content in here that justifies the amount of price tag that this DLC has, because even though that it does not have that many boss fights, there's just so much content in here. I squeezed through my first playthrough about 12 hours of exploration throughout the several areas that you have alpha, and that is not to say that I'm actually playing still, because I'm making different builds. So yeah, if you're still hesitant about buying the DLC and you really want to experience the difficulty as it is right now, my advice is that you buy it. Fear not, I know that it's kind of like, it's pricey to some extent, but it's definitely worth the experience. Anyways, if you like the content, like and never super appreciate it. Nostalgia the gorgeous and beautiful person. You're indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel. You're on Discord. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.